There isn't a dwarf alive who remembers the deep roads as they once were. They were the network of tunnels that joined the tides together. To be honest, it isn't even right to give them such a simple term as tunnels. They are works of art, with centuries of planning demonstrated in the geometry of their walls, with the statues of the paragons that watch over travelers, with the flow of lava that keeps the deep roads lit and warm. The cloud gazers up on the surface talk of the imperial highway, built by the magisters of old, a raised walkway that crossed thousands of miles, something that could only have been built by magic. Perhaps it is comparable to the deep roads, although we dwarves didn't need magic. I suppose it doesn't matter any more. The Darkspawn rule the deep roads now. When Orzammar sealed off the entrances to the deep roads, abandoning everything that lay out there, we handed over the kingdom that was to those bastards forever. To think that there are genlocks crawling over Bonamar now, tearing down our statues and defiling our greatest works. Corruption covers everything we built out there. Every dwarf who goes out and comes back says it gets a little worse with each passing year. The foulness spread a little further. Hello, and welcome to the ninth session of Victory, Vigilance, and Sacrifice. This tabletop role-playing game uses the Dragon Age video game setting developed by BioWare and the officially licensed tabletop role-playing game published by Green Ronin. Thanks also to Incompetech, aka Kevin MacLeod, for creating the wonderful music you will hear tonight. Incompetent can be found through the Roll20 app, which we will also be using. As a content note, the Dragon Age setting is not a nice place. Content warnings persist across this chronicle for war violence, sickness, undead, and terrible choices made in terrible circumstances. We employ the X card for player safety. And so, tonight, join us in telling a story of the Fourth Blight. First, Wardens. Tell us who you are and who your warden is.
Hey everybody, it's me. You can find me all over the internet as Am Changeling and on Etsy at Thornkind. I use any pronouns, and tonight I will be playing Galen Redbow, whose pronouns are he or they. He got stabbed. Oh no, wait, he's better now.
You
Call it
got
better.
better.
Wait, the stabbing still happened. Like, we didn't
It did.
undo the stabbing.
Hello, one and all. I am Devin. You can find me online at Sorta Sullied, and tonight I am Garrick, the murderer of many, many Darkspawn, and also best person at proving.
Hello, everybody. My name is Steve. My pronouns are he, him, and you can find me on some places online at Voodoo Arcade. And tonight I am playing the Tranquil Mage, Jurgen.
And I am Brody, he, they. I will be playing today Harold Wynn. Yes, he is indeed your problem now.
All right, thank you all. As for me, I'm your game runner, Rachel. My pronouns are she, her, and you can find me, Stolen Fires, pretty much everywhere on the internet, including the Burning Bird app, MySpace, Instagram, YouTube. Hive, is Hive still a thing? I think Hive died, but I did make a spoutable
No.
account.
Hive is buzzing.
Okay. I'm not on Mastodon because that's just Discord with extra steps. Anyway, you can also find previous episodes on YouTube, where we'd love your likes and subscribes on our trek to 1,000 subscribers. We'd also appreciate your subscription to this channel, but unlike Twitch, subscribing on YouTube is free. All right, that out of the way, it is recap time. Brody, would you care to read the recap of what happened last session, please?
I would indeed care to. Galen is stabbed. He gets better. Harold leaps into action to deal with the attacker. Garrick also jumps into action with swift moves. Galen uses his perception and notices that the attackers are bedraggled and in piecemeal armor. They might be interested in some food. Hold, says a feminine voice. Hold, says a feminine voice after Galen calls out, courtesy of the Grey Wardens. Action subsides and we take account. There are 6 dwarves, all unified by nothing except facial tattoos. A female dwarf steps forward to speak and says that we Grey Wardens are welcome, and that we were mistakenly thought of as topsiders. Garrick and Harold reveal that they're here to make business for explosives. After some elaboration by all, the leader takes us deeper in. And we learn that the entire place is full of outcasts, misfits, criminals, impoverished, and those that society wrongly deems as useless. We walk on towards some local fair, and one of the women, Felice, chats with Galen, asking him what he did to earn his face markings. He reveals that the Dalish don't do such things. The Valacine, the marks on their face, are to mark the rite of passage to adulthood. Felice reveals that she was born an outcast thanks to her mother's caste, and Galen tells her about how the Dalish have plans. They carry on for a bit as they all come upon some food, heady mushroom ale and hearty, though odd, nuggets. Garrick offers to instruct the locals on how to best repair and strengthen the armor available to them. And as he and Harold strike up conversation about the Blight, which Jimothy tells us all these misfits underground have known about already. They've been waiting for some Grey Wardens to arrive. Lucky them. Jimothy waves over Lyric, who's also pleased to see Grey Wardens have finally arrived. The dwarves down here all knew about the coming of the Blight and attempted to warn the topsiders, but their warnings went unheeded. Not only that, but these dwarves have been the ones going and scouting into the deep roads on salvage missions. Ideas are a-brewing. Can we conscript the underground dwarves in a temporary command to allow them to get better armor and weapons? Would it be possible to make a Grey Wardens allyship? Logic alone won't work. We have to find some sort of leverage. We need to put the information of the Blight in front of the assembly. Harold pipes up with a, by the way, do you know where the king is? question. Our new friend Lyric says that when we like, he can lead us to where the king's trail last ended. Continuing to why we came on down here, our alienage elf brings up Lyrium. Lyric intending to take us to Ishbel, for that, takes us on our way. We ask about who may be interested in becoming a Grey Warden among these underclass dwarves, who might be our eyes and ears down here on the scouting front. Garrick gives spare armor we have to Lyric. Let's not ask about the dings and damage that was originally on them, but gives a word of caution not to let the armor be seen topside. The gift is well received and acknowledged. It comes to Lyric that if we had the king in tow, the assembly would have to listen to the Grey Warden warnings. Jurgen pipes up, seemingly out of nowhere. Can I have my supplies now? Ishbel is summoned to us and cheerfully asks what she can do. Jurgen gives a supply list for lyrium and grenades, of which Ishbel says she can easily get the grenades, but the lyrium may be difficult to acquire. It'll have to be skimmed from the Templars. Our blacksmith, Garrick, does a bit of negotiation with our last piece of armor as trade. After the bartering and information gathering, we are exhausted and realize we've been awake for entirely too long now. It's time to head back to the Prancing Nug. Harold asks us if we have any reservations about his plans, and we find that they're quite workable. Though Garrick wants to know, how did he convince the topsiders he spoke with? Did he threaten them with itching powder? Alas, no. However, Harold would love to. Our tranquil Jurgen feels as though Harold has overstepped, and our alienage elf doesn't deny this. But he points out that he's making progress in not overstepping. With that, we go to bed. Each of the Grey Wardens have dreams, even Jurgen. Dreams of a great dwarven ruins in the deep roads. In them we come upon a sealed gate. Scratch, scratch, scratch. 1,000-year-old binding upon this gate stands no match against thousands upon thousands of crawling darkspawn. Waking up from our dreams, Garrick plans to prepare for the proving and declares Jurgen his hype man. Harold and Galen are unsure about this, but remain entertained at the thought. After a few jests, we discuss the vision we had in our sleep, all having dreamt the same thing: the deep roads, the breaking of the bound gate. This is a poor omen. Serious talk aside, Harold finds Jurgen some large mushrooms to use as pom-poms. Hype man equipped, 'tis time for the proving. Sir Garrick is summoned to the arena. He faces first a teen, a swift and dexterous fellow. However, the fellow is not swift or dexterous enough. The kid is felled like a sack of potatoes. A 5-minute break is called, but Garrick declares he needs no break and is taken up on that offer for his next round. The older man's next enemy he faces in the arena is a wild, rampaging Bronto. For those of us not familiar with the fauna of the underground, this is a giant armored cave bear. This battle does not go so easy, as both sides are at the dregs of energy stores. Just when it looks as if the Bronto is going to take Garrick down, though, Garrick makes a rallying blow to the beast and knocks it unconscious. This time, Garrick will take the announcer up on the small respite offered. During that break, our warrior announces to the crowd that they too can become a Grey Warden. After all, he was merely a humble blacksmith only a month ago. This raises a raucous cheer from the crowds. The final battle is launched against a Drake? Maker? A Drake? Garrick begins to feel the pressure as the smaller version of a dragon enters the arena. The battle goes back and forth, skills matched by ferocity as they dodge, attack, and defend. Blows are traded one after another, seemingly to no end. It's starting to feel like a barbecue night here in the arena. After an extremely lengthy combat, though, Garrick finally makes the killing blow by sliding under the dragon and striking an artery. Victory! And so we continue with our tale.
Excellent. Thank you, Brody, for reading, and thank you, Galen, for taking notes. So, to begin with, a couple logistics. As some of you in the audience may have noticed, we are down a K. They are taking a leave of absence from streaming for the moment. We miss them, but wish them well. I was hoping to wait until they could join us again, but for now, you are halfway through the dwarven quest. So everyone, take a level.
A level in this economy?
You need it in this economy, otherwise you'll die.
I just faced a Drake and didn't die. Come on.
That's
Yeah.
how
I'll take
you get
whatever
the
I can get.
level.
I'll take whatever I can
You
get.
faced the Drake and didn't die.
That's where the level's coming from.
4 now. Yes. That was a little more emotion than I'm used to hearing from you.
If someone wouldn't mind sending me.
I can now backstab without having to move around first.
Nice. If someone wouldn't mind me sent to be there.
It's in the pings.
My computer does not like PDFs.
So, your character's health increases by 1d6 plus your constitution. You get 1 advancement point to spend on 1 ability. Because this is an even numbered level that you are gaining, you must spend it on a primary ability. You also pick a focus from one of your primary abilities. You also gain the class powers for your new level. And Galen, I keep thinking you are a rogue, but you are not a rogue. You are a warrior.
Harold's our rogue.
Yes.
We got a melee fighter and a ranged fighter. And then you got me.
I'm just so used to rogues, to bow fighters being the rogues in the main setting. Okay, so, Galen, you're level 4. You learn a new weapon group of your choice. So the weapon groups are brawling, axes, bludgeons, bows, heavy blades, lances, light blades, pole arms, spears, or staves.
Ooh. I do. I like the idea of brawl.
Well, you start with brawl.
I do.
Yes.
Yeah, so you do start with brawl. And then three of the ones that I listed, I can't remember which ones you took apart from bows.
I have staves, light blades,
And
and
bows.
bows.
All right, so you get axes, bludgeons, heavy blade, lances, pole arms, or spears.
I'd like to axe a question.
You can have axes if you want.
Yes.
Have
Thank
axe thee.
So you also get another bonus at level 4. You strike so fast in combat that your weapons are a blur. You can perform the dual strike stunt for 3 stunt points instead of the usual 4.
Sweet. I don't really get many I don't, my dragon die doesn't really get much action.
Well, that's a little easier.
Yeah, I kept using lightning strike. What was dual strike? That one was.
What are the stats for brawl and axe?
Essentially, it's you take them as specializations or focuses.
Oh,
Oh, wait, really? So that means I didn't need to spend this focus on heavy blades. I already had it?
Yeah, you can swap it out if you like.
oh shit.
I didn't realize that was the thing because I haven't been putting extra 2 on it. Cool.
Whoops.
And their strength.
Or dexterity, depending on the weapon.
Brawl
Those
and
are
axe.
dexterity, basically.
Oh, okay. Uh,
But yeah, so dual strike. Your attack is so strong it affects 2 targets. First, pick a secondary target. They must be adjacent to you if you are using a melee weapon, or within 6 yards of your primary target if you are using a missile weapon. Apply the test result of your original attack roll to the secondary target. In other words, you only make one attack roll and apply it to both opponents. If you hit the secondary target, inflict your normal damage on them.
where on the sheet does this go? Because I don't spell.
It would go under class powers
Yeah.
Aha.
underneath where your stats are. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Strike.
You know, this would realizing that I already had the heavy blades thing would have been so much more useful last week when I kept on rolling terribly. I know. No.
Hey, Sarasara.
And it's 1d6 plus con. Let's use a
This is why you should read the rules better.
odd
should
duck
read the rules
die.
better.
Little paw prints.
So, how are
Yes.
Harold and Jürgen doing with your level ups?
Doing all right. Just needed to check specializations to make sure I didn't paint myself into a corner. But most importantly, the rogue gets the bluff ability, which allows me to do a communication deception test versus an opponent's willpower self-discipline. And if I win, I can backstab without having to move around. So now I don't have to be bippity bopping it all over the place from tree to tree.
I'm just picturing that TikTok sound with the bop and blueberry. You know, I'm a bop and blueberry. I'm picturing Harold doing that. It is amazing. Are we healed from that last encounter?
You have had a chance to rest, so yes, you are.
Excellent. +1 ability point in my class power. What do I want to use?
Right, since you are. Yes. 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 Um, hmm. Yeah, so it's a cool stunt. So I would want to replace it with another stunt. Um,
Also, just a side note, I got to add 7 points to my health. I am now at 54. Hooray. And I added my extra point to Constitution, making it from a 2 to a 3. I'm very excited about this.
so Steve, I would give you essentially the same thing that the Warriors just got, in that you can stunt for 3 points, giving someone splash damage if you're throwing a grenade at them. My cat is very restless today.
Groups.
Nice. All right. Anyone else have any more questions?
Um, the weapons that we went over, was that the warrior?
I sent it in there.
Oh,
It's in the
Give
middle
me
of it.
that.
It says weapon groups.
Weapon groups. Weapon groups. No, Discord, don't freeze, please. Aha.
That's what I'm doing. I know exactly what I'm doing. I now have griffin riding as well as horse riding.
Okay, I'm saving this to my computer this time.
I've been muted this whole time. Hi, everybody.
Oh no!
Yes.
No, we've just been
Hi,
ignoring you,
Dr.
Steve.
Nick.
It's fine.
No. Muted to all the peoples at home. Hi, everybody. I'm me. Yeah, no, I leveled up. My hit points are 37. I did my cunning to 6. I have poison lore, so I'm going to be a grenader, a poisoner, and a healer. I will throw acid on you, and then I will rub dirt on it and make you feel better.
That sounds worse. I'm gonna rub dirt into your acid wounds.
It's going to be awesome.
Well, what else are you
Wounds.
supposed to do with it? You don't put water into it because that'll just make it worse. Oh, and my health is now 61. I gave myself the griffin riding as my focus and up my strength to 4. So now I hit even more better.
Uh, I think I still need to figure out a primary ability focus.
I think I have it. I am taking a communications focus in deception.
You don't already have one?
Nope, it was an animal handling so far.
Okay.
So I am bumping my dexterity up to 5.
Nice.
Which means I'm getting harder to hit. But also maker, that this means that I will be rolling at least a +7 on my communication deception rolls to be able to backstab people.
Excellent.
Thank you, Rachel, by the way.
You're welcome.
Saved that one in my computer too.
Harold's trying to straddle the line between combat and peopling. It's very hard.
Stamina. I am picking stamina for constitution. Perfect. I think I've got everything now.
Well, I'm at the magic health level of 38 hit points.
Oh God.
Did you roll a 1?
A 2.
Oh, hey, that's doubly good.
And you know what? One thing that Harold doesn't have any of?
Armor.
Oh no, I have armor. Constitution.
Oh no.
Oh,
You know what
Wait.
your problem is you didn't roll odd dice.
oh wait, I forget. Am I supposed to add the Constitution to that too? Is it
Yes,
per level?
you
of
get 1d6 plus your
Constitution?
constitution.
Oh, I forgot that I had to add Constitution. That makes it even better. That means I have 65 health.
You are almost double Harold's health points.
Well, I also have
Warriors
4
be like that.
Constitution. I have 4 Constitution. I was debating giving myself 5, but after going, I decided I wanted to hit Mobetta. So I did that.
My cat has decided right now is the perfect time for the zoomies.
Right meow.
It
Right
is.
now.
Yeah.
Right now,
You
it's
should pull him over.
Well, I mean, every single time you see me walk away for half a second, it's because Grimmy's like, I want it, I want it, I want out, I want out, I want in, I want out.
Lest we remember, cats don't snitch.
I was gonna say, shit, what was it? Oh, yeah, you should pull him over and ask if he knows how fast he was going.
The answer is fast as I want to, human. But yeah, I think I've settled.
And I suppose cats are always having a concealed weapon on them because they got the little claws.
Death claws.
Murder mitts are legal in all 50 states and all territories.
This is true. They do not need a concealed permit.
It's his 3-month anniversary of coming home.
Oh, it's gotcha anniversary.
Yeah. Yeah, I came home on November 13th.
That's so perfect for you. Ooh, future note. Devin sent me the stats for axes because I was curious. And I'm looking at throwing axe. That looks like fun eventually. I think I want to keep in mind to get one of those or a few. I don't know.
Eventually, we're in a place where there's dwarven forges. Eventually.
Good point.
Did we decide where we were putting the ones that we could get in? I know Garrett got one
What was
because
the question?
the runes that we were playing with.
Yes, what about them?
I'm just wondering, did we decide who was getting what yet and what had already come?
One to each of us. That's
Okay.
what had been given. I figured at the time, since we were the 4 here, that we were the 4 getting them.
Let's fire.
I mean, unless you want to give me 2, and I'll take yours.
Look, I'm a nice man, but I'm not a stupid man. I think I'm taking that rune of protection on my armor. Because I would like to be harder to hit than I currently am.
But what if someone would like to hit that?
Well, then you can ask for consent like everyone else.
What I miss?
What?
We're plotting against you.
Yeah, it makes
True.
sense.
All right, so any more questions or comments about leveling up?
Feels good.
Level 12, right?
Eventually, but not today.
I would like to get to where the word epic is associated with my class.
I mean,
Technically, it's always associated with class whenever you roll something that you're not, good at, because then it's epic fail.
Okay, let's go to the deep roads. Maybe it'll put us out of our misery.
Oh, okay. So, with the mechanics out of the way, we now resume the narration. Garrick, you have just won a victory in the provings, one which may help you solve the political problems plaguing the tide. Delvin is in the crowd of people who comes up and congratulates you, as Rory hands over the winner's purse. It is 25 gold coins.
Ooh, I have gold.
And as is usual, for these sorts of things, you all find yourselves in the Prancing Nug, having a celebratory meal of nuggets.
I have to say this. Hey, Garrick, don't spend it all in one blight.
that's what I was laughing at.
Knew it was coming. Okay, one quick money question, since we haven't had to worry about it. It's 100 silver equals 1 gold?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought. Just had to make sure. Thank you.
All right, so you are all around the table. There is carousing going on. Delvin is here congratulating you. It is up to you to decide what to do next. So, as a brief recap, there is some unrest amongst the blacksmiths who have been asked to work at cost. There is also disagreement in the assembly, which is essentially the Dwarven Senate. Brody is suffering.
Lies.
I'm doing a good gastroenterology job with my cat. That's all.
Tanith used tail whip.
Anyway, issues in the assembly and issues in the deep roads. It is up to you to decide which issue you decide takes priority. So, discuss amongst yourselves.
Well, I mean, as long as we're still up here, we should at least, talk to the assembly, since, we said we were going to, and then get them to figure out that they need to actually pay people something, or else nobody's going to be making any more weapons or armor.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I think we should go to the assembly, tell them we're going to go find the king or what's left of him. And when we get back, there's gonna need to be a compensation for the work that's been done so we can keep doing the work because there's a blight on. And one way or another, having the king or having what's left of the king with us is going to make that statement more persuasive. So I guess we need to give the assembly a heads up. We're going to go deal with this. I can also mention to the blacksmiths that we're getting the king back, so one way or another, this will be resolved. They seem to like me. And then we go do the dangerous thing, because that's what happens when you drink archdemon blood and then, make it a career.
I mean, when you put it like that.
Look, when I lie, it's fun. When I tell the truth, it's serious. Guess which one I'm being right now?
What?
No. Jurgen, idiot check me. Anything I say wrong?
I mean, not Jurgen, but sounded right.
No factual errors up to this point.
That warm
Okay.
that warms my devious heart. So I guess everybody get dressed in your finest gray warden gear because we're gonna go meet the boss.
I am prepared.
Okay.
Back to the oligarchies. All right, let's do it. I wear my finest, which is what I'm wearing currently and have been for a while.
Same.
I think the
I
last
wear
time we
my-
got a change of clothes was Antiva.
Probably.
I wear the armor that still has Drake blood on it.
I mean, you're gonna want to wash that off so the armor doesn't rust.
Like the institution the armor came from.
Ooh, shots fired.
Well, I mean,
All
we
right.
did that in
Quick roll for
the
damage.
second game.
I'm just saying, Kirkwall was the first time that people were throwing down over mages.
Okay.
It won't be the first
So-
time in the future.
So, you travel upstairs to the Diamond Quarter where the assembly is, and yeah, this place is, again, it's very clean, very nice. There are merchants selling items of especially high quality. There are town criers crying out news of the hour. But it appears, at least from what they're saying, that the assembly is still in a deadlock.
Oh, I think we're gonna have fun with that.
Question: how much is it for a very, very nice fancy robe, like to cover my armor?
Oh, like without enchantment?
Yeah.
Probably like 20 silver.
How about with enchantments? Just because you said it.
Far more expensive. We're up in the golds
Okay.
now.
I just got plenty of golds. How many golds?
Well, what sort of enchantment do you want?
I would probably say something that would make me a little stealthier.
I don't
I'm
think
the
they'd
one
make
walking
this-
around going clank, clank, clank.
Look, on a scale of stealthy to Garrick,
Hey, you can borrow it if you need it.
ooh, you should get that.
You know, I could really use I don't know, I'm feeling a new weapon. It's almost like I gained some sort of skill over it. Sorry, I couldn't keep a straight face for that. Galen's gonna, while we're in this area, look for a or some throwing axes. I'm not really sure how that would work.
Get a few.
Just in case I
Good
can't
shot.
retrieve them for any reason.
Dwarves don't do axes.
Well, maybe they might if I asked them.
Somebody want
Ah,
to malevolence for
Okay.
that one?
I see we're not a fan of my sharp wit this evening.
So, you are met at the door to the assembly. And they know you're Grey Wardens, and they have sort of been expecting you because you made those arrangements previous. And so the steward leads you inside, and so it's essentially stadium seating where there's a big round space in the middle of the room for someone to stand on the floor and just orate, pontificate, deliver speeches, etc., etc. And then there's two big wings leading up, and you can, just by looking, tell that everyone here is very well dressed. Nobody has a face tattoo at all. So these are clearly the nobles. Okay, sorry, I was being sent something. So these are clearly the nobles. And they are currently embroiled deep in an argument. And so taking a couple minutes just to sort of watch the verbal back and forth going on. So there is one dwarf, who you figure out is named Lord Kennick. He is arguing that this is just the moment to arm up and prepare to fight a blight. However, his opponent in the assembly is a dwarf woman named Lady Branmere, who says that this is just surfacer panic. The Tig knows how to deal with Darkspawn, and blight or not, they will continue as they always have. There's no need to change anything. Uh, so no one has a focus in dwarves, do they?
I currently have a focus in dwarves.
You have a social advantage when talking to them, but you don't understand their culture.
Not at all.
I understand
Okay.
how nobles are jerks.
Because none of us went to the uh shape rate.
This is true. All right, so in that case, I would like cunning rolls all around. Your difficulty will be 15 because you're going to have to make a lot of inferences to figure out what's going on.
Ooh.
Does my +2 dwarf help here?
Nope. That only helps when you're trying to persuade dwarves.
Yeah, you said I need to make it 15.
15.
Then no.
But I could use Dragon Die to get that one more, right?
Oh yeah. What would Dragon Die do? That's a good question.
If I had one point in cunning, I would have made it because I rolled 14. But I got a benevolence from Mel, so what does that give me?
It lets you roll 4d6, so you may roll another die.
Yay. Thank you, Mel.
And then for Voodoo Arcade, that 17 is this roll?
Uh-huh.
Nice.
17 total.
Okay.
I'm one short. One short.
Cry. So,
It'll be fine. The talking person doesn't understand what's going on. This will be great.
all right. So, essentially, so Harold, you are sort of expecting this to go like the assemblies, or not assemblies, but sort of like the noble ways that you're used to it in Orlais. And it doesn't, and that's like really confusing. You're like, what the fuck is going on here? Garrick, same thing. Like, you know how human nobles sort of act, but this is something different. So, Galen, you have sort of been privy to a lot of discussions like this. It's something that happens often in a nomadic band of Dalish elves. Is it time to leave or not? And so you can sort of tell that there is some reluctance to essentially they don't want to believe this is a blight because if they believe it's a blight, then they have to start talking about evacuation, and no one really wants to do that. Especially the nobles, who like this is their home, this is where all their wealth is. If they left, what would they have? I mean, a big pile of money, but less than what they have right now. And so Jurgen, just sort of like looking back and evaluating dispassionately, you also realize as they go over numbers, uh, there are barely enough warriors in the Taig to adequately defend it. Even with the blacksmiths being forced to work at cost, there aren't enough people to put the swords, there aren't enough hands to hold the swords. Um, And you also pick up on one other thing as you sort of contemplate maps that you've studied. The only way, the only known way from Ortontaig to Orzammar, part of it's on the surface. So, make of that information what you will.
Part of it's on the surface.
I think that means there's no deep road path that connects the two, right?
Yes.
So one way or another, if they were to evacuate Ortontaig to Orzammar, there would be a period where they had to be above ground, which is not happy for them.
Right. They don't like that. Right. Okay.
So, what's the tack we want to take? I don't know these people, but I don't need to know somebody to bullshit them.
What if we flooded the assembly with the dust town?
I have a feeling invoking Dust Town is going to be the fastest way for them to stop listening.
Yeah.
The
Oh.
only thing scarier than having to leave is having to leave with people in Dust Town.
Well, currently we have at least one of them who's willing to listen to us about staying to fight. It looks like Lord Kennick is willing to, listen about arming up. Lady Branmere doesn't seem like she wants to do anything differently, probably making the most money off of this. But they say Surfacer Panic. If Surfacer Panic reaches Ortontaig, then all their way of life might be disrupted anyway. Worst case scenario of saying, okay, let's actually give them extra money to make weapons and arm up is they get to keep their way of life a little bit longer, but it won't help the fact that they don't have enough hands.
I mean, we can work backwards from this. We need at minimum then to accept there's a blight and to act on it in whatever way that means. I'm still thinking our best bet is to make a to-do about the king. Say we will go find him because as Grey Wardens, we believe this is an important step in fighting the blight. And we force all of these noble shits to have to commit to doing the right thing if we come back.
I think there should be a middle ground there for them to have to start giving a little bit more than just the base value of the materials for the workers' products as well, because they're already at their boiling point. If it takes us longer than a week to go down and find the king and bring him back dead or alive, they still might riot in the interim.
I mean, I'm going to tell you, if we die, I don't know what the chances of stopping the blight are, because there really aren't a lot of Grey Wardens running around right now doing this. So,
But I'm saying even if we don't die, they might still riot in the time frame it takes us to go down and come back if they aren't getting paid.
so my understanding, and Maker, correct me if I'm wrong, the
Mhm.
reason they were only getting paid at cost is because the king had said they needed to produce to fight the blight.
Yes, it was basically it was an emergency order that everyone sort of assumed would be lifted by now, but only the king can lift the order and he's not here.
So, one way or another, it's in their interest, it's in the blacksmith's interest for us to find the king. Or if the king is dead, to make that known so that I guess another king can be birthed. I don't know how this works. I don't know.
Selected.
Whatever. Maybe they, circle around and roll dice. But I was gonna
That
say
sounds silly, Harold.
I was gonna say something more disgusting, but this is a family show. Uh the,
Since when?
I don't know. There's something in the back of my head that says I can't go all out. Um, but so I think they can't keep us from addressing the assembly. We got the Fancy Griffin. Fancy Griffin flag means that we can't be ignored. And we've been around and known long enough that they can't pretend like they didn't see us. So I'm thinking we go all in.
Ooh. What if we did utilize our griffins and just landed in the center of the assembly to create kind of an uproar, fully uh armored, fully weapons up?
Galen, I love your love of the Griffins. I would point out one complication. We're deep underground.
They hated going into the pens, much less underground. That's true. But
I'm not worried about getting attention if they have to look at us.
So you could theoretically try and do that maneuver, but it would require an animal handling roll, and it would be difficult to pull off.
I mean, I can do the animal handling, but I don't think we need it. Because long and short, we are the Griffins.
I think it
Okay.
would be.
And how dare they? How could they ignore the champion of the proving?
Yeah. I think that it would be best if we were to. They said that they can't redact the order of them making things at cost. But if they were all to join in on just a temporary manner to alleviate these blacksmiths' problems, I mean, including the fact that it seems like they don't have to worry, the blacksmiths have to worry about purchasing food still.
Right.
And that still was an issue for them. If they were to create a temporary.
The Grey Wardens are commissioning the blacksmiths of Ortentag to produce weapons. This is not the king. This is a business thing. But it would be wise for the assembly to, at least until the king returns, help fund the Grey Warden purchase.
I'm not thinking that. I'm thinking more along the lines of making sure that these people are still fed, because part of the main reason why they're having issues is everyone else doesn't have to produce things at cost. So they are still having trouble feeding themselves, even.
Yeah, so the issue with Harold's plan is you don't have enough personal funds to cover the cost of the weapons being made, or even the difference. You could always
Gesundheit.
Always sneeze. Got
That's
it.
me. Yes.
So
Bless
my
the
plan
maker.
wasn't for us to pay for it. It was for the assembly to give us the money to pay for it.
Conscripting the funds, but that's
Or no, explicitly not conscripting the funds because we don't want to force them to do that. But they know we could if we had to.
I mean, you could try and play that game of chicken with them. You could try.
Well,
I like the
okay.
idea.
We could
of
walk out
us-
of the tag.
I like this idea better of rather than us conscripting the funds, us simply saying that the blacksmith's main issue is food and other things aren't cheap still. They're making things at cost and making absolutely no profit, whilst the merchants can still charge them hand over foot just to be able to eat.
I have an idea. And none of my other ideas have been that great so far. But hear me out. What if the assembly granted an allotment of supplemental items that the blacksmiths need? If you're a blacksmith, you qualify for a certain amount of food without charge or minimal charge from other merchants.
That
Who's gonna pay for it?
look that there's only two major sources of money in this place: merchants and nobles.
I mean, the nobles have plenty to spare.
And
But
if
the
they want to
nobles
preserve-
don't want to.
Galen, no noble has ever gotten to where they are by willingly giving money away or resources.
So we can script their funds.
Then we make
That's
they're
the same
more.
thing.
We need them to know that their best option is to do what we want without making it permanent.
Maker,
Yes.
how much does it cost to feed basically the blacksmiths for a day?
For a day, it depends. Go ahead and give me a cunning roll.
Can Harold also roll that cunning roll?
Harold can. If you have any,
He might not need.
I've got heraldry. That's it.
do you have any
I've got military
focuses
lore.
in economics?
No.
So that is
I mean,
14,
in a practical
16.
sense,
Okay.
Harold's outstanding in economics in a very practical way.
Yeah, so you do some quick, essentially napkin math to figure out how much it would cost to feed the entire blacksmith cast for a single day. You get that number, but then you also realize that's just for a single day. Who knows how long the blight will last, and who knows how that will affect food prices going forward.
Oh no, I'm asking for like, do we have an actual like roundabout number that you can give?
So what would you be using it for essentially? Like what's the question that you're asking?
Because I would be saying, if we were to get them to donate this money at a set amount, then when we find the king or Maker willing alive, but if he is dead, then the next one in line for the king would then be able to reimburse the funds put in by said nobles. So that way they aren't really losing out on anything except making sure that a riot doesn't happen.
You could definitely make that argument in front of them and try and persuade them that that is their
Okay.
best way forward.
I was just asking the amount because I was thinking if it was like, 100 gold, then I might not have 100 gold on hand, but I can toss in that purse to start the funds.
Well,
Yeah, so essentially this is not a problem that you are able to solve with your personal funds. This is like a
Oh.
economics at scale.
I know that was just the thing of if I throw it in myself, then this is a Grey Warden just saying, I'm willing to even chip in for your problems. Kind of like that little
Yes.
extra.
So let's try this. We need to get them to recognize that we're here. We need to make sure they understand we're here for a reason. However, we understand their reluctance to go into full flight mode because that's bad. So let us propose this. Until we are able to find the king or evidence of the king's death, we need the assembly to set aside funds to ensure that the blacksmiths are able to continue doing their work without starving. This is just a stopgap, a holding measure. This isn't a solution. It's just a let's buy some time.
Mm-hmm.
Then, once the king is back, or it's time to move on, that gives all of the fuckers a chance to maneuver to be king if he's dead. But once we're back, then it becomes then it's internal politics, and we're not going to get involved, except to say there is a blight. We need it. We need you guys to act like it. If you want to stay, fine, but you're going to need to step up your ability to defend yourselves. If you need to make an exodus, we'll do our best to help provide protection for the trip.
If you want more manpower, then we will see who will come, because
if you're not prepared for it, we have some ideas, but you might not like them.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm thinking let's just go with stopgap on the let's put a pause on the blacksmiths are going to die or riot.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Until we can get things back, until we know more. And then we are personally willing to put our lives on the line to get that and no more part.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And if everything else fails, we'll just conscript the entire tank.
Piss them off, but who cares at that point?
Look, at the end of the day, it's not a question of if we have the legal leverage. It's a question of whether or not that leverage will last if we use it.
Yeah.
So it's a strategic weapon, not a tactical.
How many people are in the assembly?
About 50.
Yeah, what would they think if 40% of them were suddenly conscripted? That would suck for them.
They'd be
We
mad.
could certainly try.
I'm not talking about.
Oh yeah.
At that point, if we're going for broke, it's I'm just gonna say anyone within the sound of my voice, we conscript you.
You could certainly try.
Yep, that would be the fun part. Certainly try.
At which point, it's Galen, you or I are going to run as fast as we can out of the tag in the hopes that they don't kill us, and we can report back that there's a Grey Warden unit in rebellion.
Oh, that brings up a thought. Should I even attend? They already looked down on me with my Valisline.
You're already in the assembly room as the arguments are going back and forward.
Galen,
It just depends on who you decide to speak.
Galen, just act like you're a servant or slave or something. I know it's stupid and sucks and I hate it, but we're in halls of power, and those are pieces of that. There's more shit on the ground than there are down in Dusttown. Here,
Harold, if you had to do that without choice for your entire life, I think I can manage optionally for a little while.
I was technically not a slave.
The sentiment still stands.
Well, I honestly think the question of who's going to speak is between you and I, Garrick.
Yeah.
You got the hype.
I do have the hype. You just have the 6 cunning?
5.
5? Yeah, okay, that's not too bad. Okay.
But also deception focus. Although I'm not lying here.
Yeah, that's the thing. You're not lying.
Well, I'm not until they ask me questions.
Okay, can I make this as a military lore roll? No, this is for the maker. if they were to go and have a riot and then a blight, like just a regular attack from Darkspawn, how screwed would they be?
Yeah, go ahead and make that.
That's 12, 14, or 16. Wait,
Okay.
yeah, 16.
So, you contemplate, and so you understand a couple things right off. It would depend on how bad the riot got, and it would also depend on how many Darkspawn came through. In the dream vision you had last night, there were a fuck ton. So even without being weakened by a riot, like enough to completely overwhelm this place.
Okay. What if it was just like oh look, there is a large non-blight amount of Darkspawn?
I mean, so if a raiding party of Darkspawn came up after there had been a riot,
Yeah.
it would depend on how bad the riot got. I will give you this. When you think back about all the people and the arms and armor you saw in Dust Town, that's about equal to the numbers that you've seen of armed warriors and guard walking around the upper levels. So
That
they are
wasn't
essentially throwing away like 40% of their military capability.
okay. Yeah, that would. Okay, cool. That's about what I needed to hear then.
Alternatively, if we, completely chopped off the head of the entire leadership of this take and had the Dust Towners take over. No.
Not gonna happen
Oh, and I know.
yet.
I can just hear Jurgen's voice in my head that's getting involved in the politics and yada yada yada. It's not what Grey Wardens do. Well, I'm not the one who chose to become a Grey Warden. Well, kind of, but look, I'm not unaware of who I am. Doesn't mean I'm not going to follow through on who I am, but I'm aware of what the problem is.
All right, so who is speaking before the assembly and what are you saying? Well, so the steward of the assembly, and as you've been discussing this amongst yourselves, the nobles have been going, round one, round two, and it's gotten to the point in an argument where they're just going around in circles and nothing is going to get resolved. And that is when the steward breaks in. And it says, Lords and ladies of the assembly, pardon the interruption, but we have important visitors from the surface. The Grey Wardens are here to provide insight into these trying times. Warden, please, you have the floor.
And I hit check Garrick forward.
Okay.
And I just whispered in his ear, if I try it, I'm going to bullshit my way through it and they'll see it. Make it happen, boy.
Fair enough.
There's just
Alright,
the
so-
gentlest of ass pats from the hip check and back.
The gentlest of ass pats. I love it. All right, so the arguing in the assembly settles down and you just hear a couple murmured whispers and it gets quiet and you're pushed forward into the main room of the assembly.
Greetings.
Essentially, you're going to have to make a communication roll. Your +2 bonus that you got on the provings, that absolutely applies.
Okay.
The difficulty will depend on exactly what you're asking of them. And
Okay.
if you could, and the justifications that you come up with, why.
Okay. Greetings, assembly of Ortontaig. I'm Garrick. Some of you might have seen me at the proving grounds earlier. I am here with the Grey Wardens to inform you what you feared is in fact true. There is indeed a blight. Whether you believe me or not, you can stay and find out.
All right, and at that point, Lord Kennick just erupts and like just yells at Lady Bradmere, "See, I told you. Will you tell the Grey Wardens that there's no blight?" And then the steward is like, calm down, let the warden speak."
We have been in your city and we see the unrest. We know that your king left standing orders for the blacksmiths to produce weapons at cost. We also know that these blacksmiths are going hungry as a result, and your king is currently missing. Now we know that we can't tell you what to do. This is your city. You are all the nobles of this place. However, we do posit ideas. We plan on going into the deep roads. We will search and find your king, alive or dead. But while we do, we know the unrest will continue to grow. The only sensible option that we can think of is while the blacksmiths continue to make things at cost, there needs to be a method that allows them to eat, to live without worry that they might not be able to make their next meal. While we are in the deep roads, we would like you, the Assembly of Ortontaig, to create a stopgap for them. Make sure that they do not go hungry while they are making these weapons to prevent this blight from entering your city, so that your guards might push back, keep them in the depths where they belong, so that darkspawn do not invade. If we come back and your king is with us alive and well, I have no doubt he will make sure that every single gold that you use goes back to you in kind, and maybe even then some, because you will have kept this city from unrest while he was gone.
Okay, so go ahead and give me that communication roll. You are not essentially, you're not asking for much. You're not asking them to upend their lives or take a new approach to anything. Just like, hey, I just need you to pay their grocery bills while we go fix the problem. And so that, they don't want to pay the money, but you could be asking for a lot worse. You're not conscripting anybody. So go ahead and make that roll at 13.
That is awesome. I didn't even need the +2 and I got it anyway. It's 14, 16.
Also, Maker, an important point. Everything you just said with a get as a caveat.
Yes. So, the steward looks kind of relieved as he calls for the vote. And it passes. Especially after they ask you, well, when are you going to the deep roads? Like, right the fuck now. Okay, good. So the motion carries. The steward personally thanks you. That was quite a lot of chaos that you brought an end to, and I'm grateful.
Be glad he talked.
Well, I'm sure I don't need to tell you that it won't hold forever.
If we're not
Just needs
back
to
in
hold long
time,
enough.
we'll be. If we're not back, we're dead. So have fun.
Well, ancestors keep you then. Is there anything you might need to make sure you come back not dead?
I think we've got the guide sorted out, don't we?
We do have the guide sorted out.
Although a few sets of basic survival gear and or arm weapons and armor would probably be good. Don't ask why.
Yeah, all right. Well, no, we'll provision you.
Uh,
We're,
as long as you're offering, do you happen to have any of those cool little explosives?
Oh, well, we'll see what we can get. Maybe one or two.
One or two might save our lives, or your king's.
All right, so you provision up, you get 2 grenades. Uh, is there anything else you want to do before you head into the deep roads?
Oh, I did want to get a couple, like some armor and weapons that I would then just quietly leave behind us as we go through Dusttown.
Okay, they
I don't
yeah,
explain why. I understand not to explain why I want them.
okay, yeah, you get a couple of shirts of chainmail and some thick Bronto leather greaves and bracers.
Uh, how long would it take me to put a couple more slots in our gear?
At least half a day.
Okay, never mind then. Since we're heading down straight away.
Okay, so
It'll be fine. There's no reason a storyteller would have the party level up if they were going into someplace dangerous.
everything's fine.
It'll be fine.
So you are all ready to head down to the deep roads. You have your guide. You have enough torches to last for a while. And so right now, as you stand at the entrance to the deep roads, they're dark and they're cold and they're creepy. Right now is when we're going to go on break. And we'll find out what waits in 10 minutes.
Last words. Fucking hate this job.
And we return. So, in this session, our Grey Wardens have made a successful plea before the Dwarven Assembly to, hey, maybe you can just subsidize the merchants, the blacksmiths' grocery bills while we take a trip into the deep roads to try and find the long lost king. So, you have made preparations before the deep roads. And so you are led down past Dust Town to a wrought iron gate. And it looks old, but it also looks well maintained. This is something important. And there's a contingent of about 10 guards posted here. They all look capable and talented. This isn't an ice cream posting. People here are taking this serious. So, I assume you are bringing Alaric with you.
I thought they
Okay.
said that there were secret entrances.
I'm sorry?
I said I thought they said there were secret entrances to the deep roads they knew. Or was that secret routes in the deep roads?
They know the routes.
Okay.
But everybody has to go through this gate,
Yes,
as far as we know.
or as you know. So, Alaric has also brought a couple people with him. Dwarves of his own contingent watch his back, including Felice, who seems to be taking any excuse possible to walk next to Galen.
Also, let's not forget we did bring some better gear for them.
Which they appreciate.
They're probably not wearing when they're passing by the guard contingent going down.
Okay. So, the deep roads are surprisingly not as dark as you would anticipate. The mountains that have been essentially carved into dwarven cities are vaguely volcanic, and so lava flows have been diverted along certain channels. This keeps them warm and relatively well lit. I like how Steve's just bopping out.
I find I do that to a lot of the music that's in your playlist for this game.
It bops.
Okay. So, so yeah, it's warm, it's well lit, but it's clearly in ruins. So go ahead and give me perception, please.
Oof, that's rough for me.
Our detected darkspawn.
No.
12.
Wow! Wow! I rolled a nat
Holy
3.
Crap.
Well done.
Does hearing count as a focus?
No.
Curses.
Is this architecture related?
No.
Okay.
Well, no, yeah, it is.
Can I add my engineering focus? Even though it's cunning?
Sure, I'll allow it.
Then 14.
Okay.
13.
So who got a 13 or better?
I got a 12 total, but
Oh.
I got a 6 on my dragon die because I got 2 twos on my other
Very-
die. Is
You
it
got a
dice?
dragon die for one.
Woohoo!
Hey, I got the
No,
dragon die for one too.
my dragon die was for 6, actually.
Oh no, I was making fun of Steve for the fact that he rolled 3 ones.
Oh shit.
Okay. So, those of you who got a 13 or better, you pick up on a couple things. Uh, this place has not really been, it's been visited, but it hasn't been maintained for years. And so there's a lot of little things that are damaged. Broken rock here, uh some nugs made a nest over there. And but you also notice another thing in that it appears as though essentially the rate of decay has accelerated. You have become experienced enough Grey Wardens that you can tell when Darkspawn have passed through a place. They have definitely passed through here, and in great numbers.
And this is right by the entrance.
It's about an hour in.
Okay.
Okay.
Great. Not even an hour away from Orton Tag, and we're already seeing way too many of these things, movements.
I think Lyric had already mentioned that he had seen that they knew. So,
Yeah, but he also said they passed through. Can we tell about how long ago?
Um, sure, give me another perception roll. Darkspawn focus applies.
Uh, 14, 15, 16, 17.
All right, so you find, because I previously mentioned, like, oh yeah, some nugs were making a nest here. Well, you find the nugs. They died. They died of sickness. I know, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Galen. But they died of the blight, based on rate of decomposition, probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Now I'm picturing blighted nugs doing like nug things, but
you know,
now with more blight.
you know what we call them?
What?
Bugs.
Uh...
So
And what do we do to bugs?
we get the bug out bag.
We squish them.
Okay,
So,
so a couple
I-
weeks.
because you have military lore, Garrick, I'll give you this one for free. The attack on Antiva was more than 2 weeks ago. But these darkspawn passed through this place about 2 weeks ago. So essentially, fresh darkspawn.
Oh, good. There's more. Sorry, let me rephrase that. But wait, there's more.
And they're moving fast. They were doing other things before they attacked. Well, during or before they attacked Antiva. Yes, that would be the demons that live in my home.
Oh,
I'm
hey,
so-
What?
I think Brody noticed my face when I heard their cats going at me.
If you're wondering why it sounds like that aircraft are trying to crash into each other in my home, that's because they are.
My cat also has the zoomies.
They're zooming.
So,
They're zoomies against each other.
so I'm gonna ask this to Lyric. I'm gonna describe those gates that we saw in our vision dream and ask him if he's been there before.
Oh,
or
no, I
knows
haven't
where it
been
is.
there myself. But I've heard rumors, heard descriptions. When they had to seal off Bonamar in the previous blight, that's how they did it.
Oh, the previous blight.
Aye.
And how many darkspawn were left when they sealed it off?
Oh,
From
countless, that's why they had to
rumors.
seal it.
Sealed. Past tense.
So, what are the odds that we're going to be encountering other groups of darkspawn moving in a military fashion where we are right now?
Well, ancestors protect us that we don't have to deal with them. But do you not know that the entire Dwarven Empire has been in decline since the first blight?
We've heard.
Is the decline of the Dwarven Empire visible in the alienage of Orlais? Of Alrayo?
Well, I've never been to Orlais, so I wouldn't know. But that's part of the problem, you see. We've been in decline since the first blight, and surfacers don't give half a nug shit.
Yeah, I can say this now with the life experience I've had. That's pretty common across all slices of the world right now. No one gives a shit about other people.
Aye, and for that reason, you'll have something of an uphill battle convincing the dwarves to throw in with you. They fight Darkspawn every damn day. What makes today any different from yesterday? That's what you're going to have to persuade them all of.
Well, that's why we're bringing back the king, or what's left of him.
Right.
Alright.
Although you should probably
Sounds good.
understand. The Darkspawn come from underground, yeah? The Magisters, at least in the stories you tell, they fell from your golden city, fell deep in the earth, where now the Darkspawn try and dig them out. We don't really know how the Darkspawn are created, but almost assuredly it's the Archdemon doing it, making armies and armies of the thing. Well, what do they overwhelm first? They overwhelm what's closest. What's closest to underground? More underground. Every blight, we lose another Tig, another kingdom, another place that's got to be sealed off against the Darkspawn.
So you are used to it at this point?
Well, it's hard to get used to losing a little piece of your home every century.
Looking,
Then
looking.
having to look around and see how few people care.
Tara looks at Galen. I think we actually are somewhat familiar with that story.
But what I'm hearing is you need help more than we need help, is what you think.
What I'm saying is that we've needed help for centuries and none has come from the surface world.
Fair enough. Well, centuries may be past, but we're here and we're listening now, at least.
Aye, but there's less than half a dozen of you. And I don't mean to sound ungrateful. We've got good respect for the Grey Wardens. You all seem determined to die fighting down here.
Technically, we don't plan to die fighting down here. We plan to die fighting the Archdemon directly.
Oh, well, when there's not a blight on. The older of you come down here to die fighting. It's respectable, but it's always done piecemeal. One, two, maybe even three at a time, but never more than that. We need an army to reclaim Bunamar.
Well, if they're attacking you all first, then maybe the army needs to come to you too.
Aye, possibly, though I've heard that there's a surfacer city that already fell.
Yep, Antiva City. Let's be honest,
And
the entire countryside also fell, so it wasn't just the city.
I'm truly sorry to hear that. I'm certain there's a lot of common folk what suffered.
Especially when the people with money fled without letting any of them on their boats.
Oh, well. Isn't that always the way it goes?
Yet turns out hierarchy and dismissal of people at the bottom is probably the most universal trait that we have in the world.
Well, suppose we've got to figure out a way to make the ones up top listen.
Itching powder. It helps.
If only we could defeat a blight with itching powder.
Hey, I'm here. It's entirely possible that I take down an archdemon with itching powder.
Oh, I hope I live long enough to see it then.
I hope I live long enough to not have to do it.
Alright, and so as the conversation continues, this lasts for several more hours as you go deeper and deeper into the deep roads. And there are some monsters to fight. I'm not going to make you roll for incidental combat, but there's like spiders the size of Mabari. There's a lot of deep stalkers who are weird, blind, tube-faced little lizards. They're more vermin than they are a threat. So, you come to what looks like a ruined village. Probably once upon a time home to maybe 200 dwarves. And you can tell that this place was a crossroads. Because there are big, deep roads leading into and out of this place. So this was probably a trading hub of some kind. And so Larrick leads you like, all right, well, this is about as far as we've ever been able to get. And as you can see over there, other people were staying here too. And so he indicates this, almost in like what would have been the city square. You see the remains of ash pits where campfires once burned. And like small belongings left behind, like lengths of string, tent stakes, maybe like someone left their fork behind.
A fork.
So this is, as he said, basically the last place where they all have been. So everything here has been kind of scavenged.
Yeah, so this is the farthest that Larrick has gone into the deep roads. This is what he presumes is the last known campsite of King Branner's expedition.
Okay, any way of us to be able to tell, like, which direction they might have left to?
Yeah, what sort of navigation focuses do you have, or does anyone have? Any
What's
sort
a
of
navigation focus?
anything having to do with tracking or hunting?
Sadly, no, but I need to get that next time.
Yes, Jurgen? Jurgen?
I have grenades, and grenades can become sonar.
Not sure that's how that
really
works.
gonna help.
Dang. All right.
You're also not sure if you might cause a landslide.
So, based on, can I presume where they might go based on military tactics? and lore?
I was gonna
Yeah, go ahead and give me that roll.
I was gonna ask Larry too, if you were doing this right now, or if you were the king and his expedition, what direction would you have gone from here?
Oh,
Oh,
damn. I rolled amazing. Sorry.
well, that road leads deeper into the deep roads. There's a rumor it connects to Kal Sharak, but who knows?
Was that why the king was down? King went down here to look for Darkspawn, or to go on a relic hunting adventure, or because this is some kind of dwarven royal hunt?
Oh, no, we received news of the fall of your surfacer city. Rumors that it was a blight. King Branor said he'd calm the disquiet, the upset in the city by personally leading the expedition to determine if it was or it wasn't.
So I guess then the question is, which way would you go? Unless Garrick, you look like you've got something in your head.
That was 21.
Yeah, yeah, it is very easy once you know what to look for. Like, oh, Brontos have clearly been down this way. Look at their hoof prints in the dirt. Or dust, rather.
Yeah,
And
looks
it
like
is, in
they
fact,
set up in
leading
a.
deeper into the deep roads.
In a Zeta Theta formation.
I don't know what that means.
Nothing at all.
I would like to command Riker Beta 6.
Make it so.
All right, you know what? Let's go that way. It's the
All right.
most option, right? I figure if we always take left, if we don't know any better, we'll eventually explore the entirety of the deep roads, right?
Making a left turn.
All right. So,
At least we'll get we'll get to the
I'm
exit.
sorry?
No, I was responding to Brody saying if we always turn left. Right, just keep following the left wall.
It always take the leftmost option when you have no other way of knowing which way to go.
Yeah.
That way you will explore everything eventually.
All right.
Maybe.
So, Lyric says, all right, well, now here's where I'm afraid I must leave you. My people and I, we don't go farther than this.
Respect that, although I'm going to ask you one favor, Larry. Where is the furthest you have gone?
Here?
Take one step past it, just one.
All right, I suppose I can humor you. We'll take one step. All
Just
right, now.
the best you've ever done doesn't mean that is the best you ever will.
Oh, it's not about that. It's a question of logistics. We won't be home before. If we leave now, we can be home before midnight.
Before they become more active, you mean?
It's not a good idea to spend more than a few days at a time down in the deep roads. At least, not without sufficient supplies and equipment.
Well, Eric, best of
You
luck.
also never know
Be safe.
when you might. Aye.
Could
And so,
we ask if you were not back in, I guess, 3 days to come and check and see if any of us survived and are here?
oh hi, there's still plenty of salvage, so someone will be along soon enough.
I'm just thinking, worst case scenario, we get attacked, we're overwhelmed, only one of us survives. I'd like to make sure that, I have somebody who will find me and drag me back to safety.
Good to know.
Hey, look, between the four of us, I'm the most likely to survive an ambush.
Most likely to run away. Gotcha.
No, just the least intimidating.
Oh, I'd stand back and take all the brunt so that you guys could run away anyway.
I'll send more people.
Thank you. All right, folks.
And
Shall we go do something stupid?
so Larrick looks at Felice like all right, let's go look on her face. But Felice looks back at you, the group, like she really wants to come with you.
I think it's probably the person with the most social awareness. I'm gonna go. Felice, is it you want to come with us for the adventure, or you're worried about not having Galen in a few days?
Oh, can't it be both?
Absolutely.
Galen's looking around clueless, like, what?
But if it's about Galen primarily, I'll do my best to make sure he's the one that makes it back. If it's about wanting to come with us, that ain't my call, but I'm not going to say no. You're an adult-like person, right? I don't know. I have no sense of dwarven age. None.
I'm a grown dwarf.
Okay.
Dwarf.
I you know what assumptions make us. Okay. Larrick, any objection if this one decides to come with us?
I've got my own provisions, and I know how to take care of myself. I won't be a burden. I might even be able to help.
Not a question. Just making sure that it doesn't cause us more grief on the other end. I've been that kid, or more accurately, I've taken that kid.
Now you've got a fluffy cattail in your camera.
It's not a cattail. That's one of the weird tube-faced lizards.
They're so ugly, Ambrose.
Look, a very cute.
They're horrifying.
They're precious.
Look, no. I just want to make sure if you come with us, nobody back home is going to be like, you didn't bring this person back, you die.
I think that at this point, the decision would be up to her, and anything that would be said about it would be up to Lara to make misunderstood understood.
Larrick shrugs like, I'm not her father. She can make her own choices.
And Harold will lean in a little bit closer to whisper. Also, we're Grey Wardens. At most, on the outside, you got 30 years. So you might want to make with the moves on the road. Just saying. Sooner rather than later. For everybody. I can keep the other two distracted so you guys can have some private time. But don't.
Galen's ears are burning.
Felice looks a little scandalized.
We don't have long to live. Don't fuck around. Fuck.
All right.
Hey. Galen's got a wingman.
Okay, so, are you taking Felice? Are you telling her to fuck off and go home?
Never gonna tell somebody to fuck off and go home.
I would really like to say, I'll just kind of chime in, just be like,
Jurgen, idiot check.
I was gonna say the inclusion of non-dark Grey Wardens into one of our operations creates many complications. While we are immune to darkspawn, she would not be. If she were to not die in combat, she would still be infected, requiring us to end her life, or to leave her behind.
Or,
You consent?
Jurgen, you forget about the other option. I
But
look
that
at her and say, if for some reason you get in a position where you have the option of either us killing you or becoming a Grey Warden, before it happens, let's hear it.
also no guarantee that you'd survive the process of becoming a Grey Warden.
Oh, I don't think it will. I'm fast. I can
That's not the
dodge.
question. That's not the question. If it came down to it, what's your answer?
I don't want to die.
Then you
You
should.
heard it.
Then you should
Grey
remain.
Warden it is.
If you're worried about living, don't follow us.
She looks to Caitlin.
They're right. If you're concerned with living, you should probably stay with your friends and family.
All I will say, that one's worth dying for. So
Uh, well, oh, I suppose you're right. Um, but here you should take this. And she hands Galen a pretty necklace of carved stone. Um, it was my mother's, so you better bring it back.
Carol will look at Garrick and Jurgen. Gentlemen, I need us to agree on something. If at all possible, if only one of us can make it back, that one points to Galen.
Gentlemen, let's face it. If it comes down to it, I'm shoving all three of you back that way, and you guys run for the fucking hills.
Okay, in that case, Jurgen, you and I, we agree that if it's only if it's the three of us left, Galen lives.
I'll make the appropriate decision at the time.
That's about as good as a yes as we're gonna get. Awesome, Galen, you get to live if only one of us does.
That doesn't seem fair.
You have something to live for.
Galen looks towards Phillies.
He's
I won't.
blushing furiously.
I'm this close. I'm stepping out of character. I'm this close to just pushing Galen at her and saying "kiss" now. But I will do. Carol will lead into Galen. Galen, she likes you. If you like her, you should probably express that right now. You might not get another chance.
Oh.
Go, romance. Go. We can wait 5 minutes.
And this look of realization just washes over Galen's face. He's been totally oblivious up until now. And he'll walk closer.
Hip check Galen closer.
he'll walk closer to Felice and lean down and give her a kiss on the cheek while holding her hands. And he'll take the necklace gingerly and I will bring this back if I have any say in my fate. And I'll bring these three back with me, I hope.
Okay, you better. I'll be back here in 3 days, like the other one asked for. And she will also kiss your cheek. Don't die. And then Larry will like, all right then. Now that you've made up your mind, come along, lass.
Once we start walking and we're out of earshot, Galen's got a girlfriend.
Before it gets to that point, Garrick is just going to, with the broadside of his bastard sword, give him a quick pop on the butt. Good job.
So much ass patting going on this game.
Hey, Super Bowl was yesterday.
Hey, this is a BioWare-based game.
That's why we just had the romance scene. So Lisa's approval goes up by 5.
Although she gave Galen the gift, so technically she's the PC at this point.
Eh,
Congratulations, Galen. You're an NPC in her storyline.
Aren't we all?
No, no, because in Origins, Alistair gives you a rose, and Zevran will give you his mother's ring as well. So, it goes both ways.
Same.
I was
So-
waiting for it.
Alright, so Larrick and Felice head back to Ortontaig, while the 4 of you journey deeper into the deep roads. So, you. It takes some time. It's hard to gauge the passage of time without a sun or stars or moon. And especially to Galen, you're used to living outdoors. It gets kind of disconcerting after a while, that your internal clock, your internal sense of time, is just completely broken. You do know, all right, well, we've been walking for some amount of time and we're tired. We should take a rest. We're hungry. We should eat. Is it time to sleep? Probably. So you end up making camp twice. And both times you have the same dream. Even Jurgen, visions of Darkspawn just flooding the deep roads. After the second night spent camping, you've been walking for some amount of time. And I'm not going to make you roll for it because there are enough Darkspawn that you know there's a couple hundred
Oh my
that way.
gosh. Couple hundred?
Mm-hmm.
So, not something we should just run into and fight.
Probably not without doing some scouting and intel work first.
Well, if we found some Darkspawn, that doesn't necessarily take us closer to our actual mission, though. We're not here to fight the Darkspawn toe-to-toe. We're here to find the king.
Since we left, has there been any other sign of their Bronto tracks?
You're pretty sure you're following their trail.
Oh, and how far from the hundreds of Darkspawn is this trail going? Or is it directly into the Darkspawn?
Seems to be leading directly there.
Shit.
So, I think this is the time where I point out, I think I'm the sneaky one.
Really?
Really.
Well,
Because, I mean, I've never stopped hearing you.
That's my secret. You assume I'm there because I'm loud. But if you don't hear me, where am I? I think I need to go take a look ahead. See what we can see.
All right. Go
Scream if
ahead and
things go
give
wrong.
me.
Hey, although before it's like I give the fake tears. Don't just
Oh,
if
gosh.
don't let them eat me.
Don't worry, I'll stab you first.
A true friend, a true friend. And that's when I go suddenly just shut the hell up and step into the shadows.
All right. Go ahead and give me a stealth check because the Darkspawn aren't very smart and they aren't very perceptive, but you are a Grey Warden and they can sense you the same way that you can sense them.
16?
It's good. Target number was 15.
Well, on the upside, that was mediocre roll.
It was average
Okay.
all around.
So, you manage to wind your way through these great stone ruins. And here's what you come across. There's a chasm, and there are these great pillars of rock rising out of the chasm. They're big enough to host a campsite, which appears to be what they have done. Congratulations, you found the expedition. They are pinned down on a great stone pillar in the middle of a wide chasm, at the bottom of which is hot lava. And massing on the city side of the chasm is all the damn darkspawn.
How did they get to the pillar? Was there a bridge at one point, or is that the?
Yes. Looks like there was a bridge that someone broke it.
Could have been the defenders, could have been the attackers. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a pillar in the middle of lava. On one side, there's a whole bunch of darkspawn that have all their attention on the people in the middle.
Yes. And every so often you see like one of the genlocks will fire an arrow into the campsite and someone will fire something back. But they're not really engaging in outright combat right now, in large part because they can't.
Um, while I can't make the math, I'm going to collect the raw data as best I can of the numbers of people I see from the expedition,
Mhm.
and and also the number of days since the king had left that we know, so that when I
Okay.
get back to Garrick, I'm going to ask how long have they been going hungry?
All right. You're
That's
not sure.
that I don't have anything other than what I can see. I can't do the math.
All
But
right. Give me a perception roll.
10 with 5 stun points?
Okay.
Maybe benevolence used here?
I mean, Chloe could give benevolence to preserve the romance. Would this count?
Well, Mel also
This
gave
would not
benevolence.
count as preserving the romance, and I believe you already spent Mel's benevolence.
Did we?
This is a perception check to count the people, right? Or is it?
And maybe okay, Mel has bestowed upon you another benevolence.
Well, let me see what happens when I add a d6. Okay,
That's much better.
14 with 5 stun points.
All right, so your target number was 13.
Thank you, Mel.
Can't
So
upset by that yell.
you spend about half an hour sort of crouched behind a crumbling rock wall, and you count 14 dwarves, 2 Brontos, and you also see the butchered remains of 2 more Brontos.
So they're
So
eating
they're
their
not
Brontos.
totally done yet. Okay. I guess another quick kind of check on the layout. Is there another point that's higher up on the other side from the city that is accessible? That overlooks
Higher up compared to what?
So there's a pillar
Mhm.
in the middle of, so there's a pillar.
Mhm.
One side in a gap is a city. Is there anything on the
Yes.
opposite side?
More deep roads.
Okay. And are the deep roads higher or lower? Or is that entry higher or lower than the pillar in the middle?
It's flat.
Okay, so it's as if the pillar was originally just part of a road system and there were two bridges
Yes.
on either side.
Yes.
How far is the gap?
It is about 15 feet from either edge of the chasm.
And one last question on the layout.
Uh-huh.
How hard would it be to get from the city side to the deep road side?
Well, that would depend on what you're doing.
Like if the scenario I'm
Like,
imagining is we appear on the deep road side, maybe throw some ropes across to see if we can't help get some people over,
okay.
and the darkspawn would then. Do they have? Is there any obvious footpath to the other side?
Yes. So there is another road on this side of the chasm, on the side that you are on.
Okay.
It leads off into the distance. You could potentially try and kite the darkspawn and draw them away. That would definitely entail some risk. You could try using some ropes and tools to string up a rope bridge across the chasm. That is
The darkspawn to not.
also risky.
So with that, I'm going to make my way back to the boys. Until we come up with a better name, we're the boys. And I will explain the layout. Garrick, based on the numbers, how long do they have before they're completely starved out?
2 Brontos.
There's 2 Brontos left.
Yes, that's how long they have. 2 Brontos worth of time.
Probably about 5 to 7 days.
Okay.
That's what I said.
Yeah. And that's assuming minimum actual consumption, not people ready to go.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've got some bad options. We could try and get the attention of the Darkspawn and have the people who aren't being pursued by them figure out how to get across. Or we can try it from the far side.
How would we get over there?
Honestly, I'm not worried about getting over there. I'm worried about getting them over.
Well, as far as attracting the attention, I just pull out a grenade and we have plenty of ways to make them think things are going on elsewhere. Hey, Jurgen, do we have any way to drop these things off, like, as a trap so that it takes some time before it drops?
As in some sort of time device?
Yeah.
Perhaps.
I
But
think
if
maybe we could.
We got to get them out, and we don't have time. It's been a few. How long? It's been at least 2-ish days since, or that we can best calculate since we left the crossroads, right?
Days.
So we probably don't have the time to go back and get help.
Well, so the calculation you asked was when are they going to start starving?
But
Yeah, so they have the time it would take us feasibly to travel back get more help, and then go. But it's still not going to change the fact that there's currently hundreds of darkspawn, and they might just be massing even more because, hey, there's fresh bodies down here.
And we might be lucky in that they're only on one side right now.
Yes.
All right, so distraction plan involves at least one of us putting ourselves in a position to set off some things and get them to come toward us.
Unless, of course, Jurgen has some weird, timed release method that he can come up with so that we can drop a fancy grenade and have it blow up and distract them all for a minute. Or yeah, one of us just does the dumb thing and hey, look at me.
So me, got it. I'm going to do the dumb thing.
I
Oh,
will,
no. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jurgen.
I was merely going to say that I do believe that I could create some sort of time explosive device. Just to clarify, this is in order to get the Darkspawn's attention
Yes.
Yes.
and to bring them closer to our side of the chasm.
I think to get them away from the chasm so that others have time to work out how to get them across.
Yeah.
Could we not build some sort of structure to close the gap?
Yes, but again, any structure is going to draw their attention.
So we're
we gotta
looking to
get
draw them away.
We got to get them away from
see.
the place so that the people who can build it and get it across. It's entirely possible that they've done some of that work on their end, but just can't get the full distance. But either way, we're not going to be able to talk to them until we get the Darkspawn to pay attention to something else. And I'm not saying this because I want to die, but I'm the fastest and the quietest when I need to be, and also the loudest when I need to be. And Garrick, you and Jurgen are the most likely to be able to build a goddamn bridge. And Galen's got a girlfriend, so Galen's out.
So I thought, and that just goes completely over his head at the moment because he's so focused on figuring this out. I am an archer. What if I can set off the time device at a safe distance? Then the time device goes off and sets off the grenades. No one would have to get too close.
Wait a minute. We're thinking about this really, really hard for this. Galen, give me an arrow.
Galen hands you an arrow, and I think I've got some special ones. Oh, they're poison. Never mind.
No, I just want an arrow, and then I strap one of the bombs to it. How long does this thing take to blow up?
About a 5-second lead.
I was gonna say, storyteller.
So what you just invented a grenade launcher.
Yes.
Oh, also, I have a trap.
Oh, you might be able to pull it off.
Oh, actually, it says it's combustible liquid. So, wouldn't that mean it would blow up on impact?
Possibly.
So, hey Galen, how well do you think you could fire this really, really long range?
I'd have to test it out with a rock first. Something of the same weight.
I look nearby, I find a rock.
Mm-hmm.
I pick up the rock, I attach a rock to one of your arrows. Get practicing.
Does that give us a bonus?
And remember, your Ironbark shortbow does give you a 100% increase on the range. So your range with a shortbow right now is 24 yards for a short shot, 64 for a long shot. Which in American That's over 180 feet.
That's still not super far.
How wide is the chasm?
You
It
said
is, so it's essentially 40 feet wide, and that you've got 15 feet of gap,
yeah.
10 feet of pillar, and then another 15 feet to get to the other side.
Okay.
Thank you, Chloe, for the correction of the meters. That still leaves us to the problem of once you blow it up, that'll get their attention. How do we keep it?
Were any of those rocks loose on the other side?
There's a ton of rubble.
I'm talking about basically creating a miniature landslide with the explosive.
How much potential energy is present in the rocks in the cavern?
So you would have to get closer to sort of like the other end.
Mm-hmm.
So not the other side of the chasm, but the other end of where the darkspawn are.
Hmm.
Oh. Garrick,
But if you can sneak your way over there, you might find a place where like, oh yeah, put it here and put it here, and then boom.
fortunately, that's two different skill sets. That one of us, that the sneaky one possesses the sneak, but not where to place it, and the one who knows where to place it does not possess the sneak.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
I I volunteer to place the explosives.
Can you sneak?
When necessary. It is not my primary skill, but it is one that I'm known to do.
So,
well,
can I make a proposal? Jurgen, you and I need to be on team distract. Galen, Garrick, you're on team get those people off that pillar and out.
Well, but archery.
Right, you need to give Garrick and everybody else cover.
Ah,
Also, I have an idea on how to communicate with them without exposing ourselves too obviously. But it involves you shooting an arrow into their camp and not killing anyone.
no pressure on my roll.
I
So,
have a simple solution for that. Aim for the dead Brontos.
although we need to get their attention too. This is the problem. We need to get the attention of the dwarves up there, but not the dark spot across from them.
Well, I mean, did you see how much was left of the Brontos?
More of a. I can't see a way of doing this without getting the darkspawn to pay attention to something else for a period of time. So honestly, here's my proposal. Jurgen,
Yes.
you and I get over to the darkspawn side. You plant the explosives. We set them off, and then I make a ruckus and have them chase me.
Do you have a death wish, Harold?
Technically, no. Um, practically, probably, but technically, no. Um, Garrick, you and Galen get a bridge or something made to get them off, and I will meet you back somewhere down the line.
Okay, talking about the bridge. With the materials we have on hand or around there, is a bridge a viable option?
So,
It might not be. Sorry, go ahead, Maker.
yes. So, obviously there are no natural sources of timber down here. However, throughout the years in the ruins of the Tig.
Uh,
You
did,
could,
sorry, Maker, but did everyone else just hear that too?
Yes.
Turns out the maker might be part science.
hear what?
So we found out that you're one of the androids in Blade Runner already.
Yeah. You went. You went. However.
I did no such thing.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Yeah.
It's on Twitch. It
Besides,
must be real.
replicants don't talk like that.
That's what a replicant
They
would say.
do when they glitch.
It was amazing.
So
All right.
sorry, there are no natural sources of timber.
Remember, everybody, malevolence for the maker is benevolence for the players.
No, malevolence means I get to add more dice to the bad guy's die pools.
Right, which is my way of
So-
saying give benevolence, because that's malevolence to the maker.
So to answer the question, obviously trees don't grow underground, but there's a lot of imported timber. You could possibly scavenge enough, like pieces of old chests, old furniture, tables, chairs, rig something up. The question is, would it be strong enough to get 14 dwarves, along with their supply wagons and their 2 surviving Brontos, across? So this would be a pretty difficult engineering role because you would be doing this without ideal materials or ideal tools.
I'm also going to point out, while we do want to save as many, if not everyone, as we can, there's one person who has to get out.
The king.
No, Galen.
Okay, 2 people who have to get out.
So
The Dusktown romance writes itself, and you're living it.
in this
Nothing
instance,
else happens in this world. If the blight takes us all, you are living the Dusktown dream.
what
They
was
have
the
a new
highest
goal. The player
was
has
the-
a new goal. Sorry, I
What
have
was-
to get it out really quick.
Okay.
I have to take Felice with us to meet Dalish elves so they go, wow, your Valislina are amazing.
Okay. What was the highest structure in or on top of the pillar?
The highest structure? So
Like, was-
everything is pretty level with each other.
So
The
there's-
highest structure on the pillar is essentially camp tents.
Okay, so nothing that we can use as that. Okay, I was thinking about trying to make it so there was something to hold. Actually, if they had something. Okay. Would there be a way for us to create like a device that they could basically rig a pole onto one of those Brontos so that it would remain upright? Basically using the Bronto as a rigged stationary platform. But basically
Like
so that they
zipline
can,
the Bronto?
yeah, zipline them with the Bronto.
That would still be an engineering challenge.
Okay.
So because it's only 15 feet, you could sort of like angle the zip line down a little bit so that they landed like about 10 feet down on the rock wall. And just zip line down, whee! But then you gotta get them the rest of the 10 feet back up.
Okay, so nothing's really gonna work for that. Okay.
Well, no, it's possible for you to do it. It's just
They'd still have
more
to climb.
it's just a more different engineering challenge because you could very easily lap together a 10-foot ladder.
Okay. Let's try whapping together that 10-foot ladder. The Brontos go last.
Let's do it.
Okay. Well, so the engineering challenge is to rig up the zip line and then communicate with them, hey, here's what you're doing. Hang on to the rope and just slide down.
Which is why I think that, Galen, you need to shoot a message across if you can without getting caught.
Do my best.
Okay. So,
So just to make, we got 3 parts of this plan right now. Galen, you send a message that you send a message to them by arrow about the plan.
Not the Griffin arrow.
No. Jurgen, you're going to handle the initial, oh my god, everything's about to explode.
Yes.
I will play cleanup, and if I have to, we'll draw them away.
Yes.
Let's do it.
Okay.
The longer we wait, the hungrier they get, and I have never met a dwarf who did well when they were hungry.
all right. So, first phase of the plan is Galen sending the Arrowborn message in. I'm going to say that this is a challenging. So that's going to be difficulty 13. And so it is going to be a dexterity roll to fire the arrow. But if you have a relevant communication bonus like persuasion, you can apply that.
Just Griffin handling.
There are no griffins down here.
Oh, but I have an idea.
What's your idea?
I'm gonna draw a griffin on a piece of paper and tie it to the arrow. Does that count as?
Honestly, I was gonna write out the plan.
No. That was for Griffin handling.
I want to go home.
Galen, we're trying to get you an option back in town. Don't mess it up by not being worth it.
Don't worry, she'll handle your Griffin later.
Yep.
Oh my
All
god.
right. Just make the roll, Ambrose. Make the roll.
Okay.
I wonder if there's a change to the face tattoos after.
Oh. Oh no. Can I pay you threat?
No, you cannot.
Well, no. This can be for your love. Because if you do this and you fuck it up, then you're not making it back.
Yeah, I
will
only
allow
got a
that.
10.
All right, well, one more d6. Get a 3 or higher.
I got a 3.
Okay.
Honestly, I'm kind of like, can we just change it to you shoot one of them with the arrow?
Just
Oh
don't
no,
shoot again.
that's what would have happened, and you would be like on the back foot trying to, like, essentially, like, Garrick's bonus would be erased. Because it's
God.
like, you fucking shot me!
If you crit failed, you would have hit the king.
Yeah, this die is going in timeout
Okay.
for
But
giving me a 2.
You made the roll. You write up your plan on some scraps of parchment, wrap it around your arrow, and fire it directly into a tent in front of someone's eye line. And so they're all like, huh, what the fuck? They look over and you like wave your little warden banner. And so they check. Indeed. So about an hour or so later, a flare goes up, which you interpret as them being like, all right, we're ready.
Uh-oh.
So,
So I think, if we can, I think in that hour, that's where Jurgen and Harold get in position.
okay. And I assume, well, Garrick also rigs up his zipline.
Hell yeah, zipline.
All right. So this is a formidable challenge because you need to anchor the zipline into solid rock at 2 points, and you need to make sure that the angle of incline is enough that they would actually slide down, that it can bear the weight of dwarves and arms and armor, etc., etc. So, this is an engineering challenge. Target number is 17.
Oof.
5, 5, and a 4 makes that 18.
Okay. So, you've never really done this before, so you're kind of guessing. But at the end, you've got like this silk rope leading from the one end to the other. All right. Harold and Jurgen.
Yes.
Who's doing what?
I was under the impression that I am setting grenades to go kaboom to create a distraction somewhere deep in the deeper into the town beyond the platform. Is that right?
Deeper
right.
into the deep roads.
Deeper into the deep, deep road of the deep.
So, those of you who are sneaking, I would like stealth checks. And this is going to be at 15, because again, they can sense you.
Hero! Hero! Jurgen!
They both just
We
like
need-
run into each
We,
other.
we need
All over.
two benevolences for them not to
That's a
die.
hell of a cliffhanger.
I mean, I never said they were gonna die.
Hey, if you're gonna give a benevolence, give it to Jurgen, because me drawing attention is the plan.
So,
I need not.
I'm just not gonna have an opportunity to plot out my next run.
so, here's what happens is you